Welcome back to the Intersint podcast. This is episode 26. I think we ran out of funny things to say for the numbers, I think.
At least until other numbers come along that we find references for.
Oh, hold on.
Your brain just broke.
Hold on, we might restart.
Okay.
Oh, no, never mind.
This is all staying in.
I thought it was the SpongeBob thing. What's funnier than 25, 26, but it was 24, 20. Did we do that
already?
Did we? Okay.
Yes. Idiot.
It has been a long time.
It has, yes.
And it's been a long time because you went to Vegas.
I did.
So we didn't even record last week.
Nope.
So it just feels like forever since we actually did anything.
It honestly has.
But you went to the Sin City.
I did, yes.
What did you do for sinning?
I didn't. I don't sin. I am Angel.
Whatever you want to believe. So,
hey, wow. Fuck you.
But yeah, so you went down for a weekend.
I did.
Kinda
I
like
went down for,
It's like an extended weekend.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, a 4-day weekend for me.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to Vegas for when we were young.
Lucky.
I know, I've been waiting. I bought tickets last November when they announced it.
Yeah.
They announced the date it was released, and then the second they released it, it was all sold out.
Wow.
I was on the wait list, and so I think it was like within 24 hours, they were like, okay, yeah, you got tickets. Didn't get them until the end of September of this year.
You were complaining nonstop, like, when are my tickets going to get here? They're supposed to be here by now.
Well, the thing was they never sent tracking information until I asked them to. But then I got an email saying, oh yeah, all tracking information was sent out. So I'm like, where the fuck is mine?
That's a good point there of just how mismanaged from the stories you've told me.
Yeah, that should have been my sign.
But I mean, first off, you already said, I could be wrong on this. You told me that it was already too late. Like the instant you got your tickets, it was too late to get a refund, right?
Right. Like they put it on their website that there are no refunds.
I don't agree with that at all.
And then in their FAQ section, there's a question of like, oh, is there a place that we can resell them, or do you buy them back at least?
Right.
To sell them to somebody else? And they're like, no.
You're screwed.
And pretty much. Okay, so backstory. I bought 2 tickets for me and a friend.
Yep.
That friend ended up dropping out because she had to move out of the country.
Yep.
And so I was just left with that additional ticket. I asked you, you tried to make it work. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking my mom because I was like, okay, if I'm going to go down there for a weekend, I'll just hit up like these other places.
Right.
But I didn't feel like being in Vegas alone by myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Which was a good thing considering, okay, I'll get more into this later, but I'm glad like I took her just because it was like, show her a place other than where we live and Pakistan.
Plus, it's not like you even just asked me. You asked every single person you knew to go.
I did. I asked people at work. My work friend had other shows to go to that weekend. I put it out on Instagram as well. I posted underneath the lineup post of like, hey, I have an extra ticket. Does anyone want it? No one responded.
Yep. I even asked my friend who's in a band and asked him if he knew anyone in a band who would want to go with you. And no one wanted to go to this.
No one. I mean, we're all old. I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would have. If I didn't have the dog, 100% I would have gone.
And so, okay. So I had that extra ticket. I pretty much used it to give to my mom and be like, you stand in the merch line while I go into the show.
Just use her as a pawn.
Just hold my spot. Which worked out really well. But before that, because they announced like, oh, merch lines are going to be open from Friday through Sunday. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm flying in this Friday anyway. I might as well just wait. Thinking that all the merch is going to be out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I get to the airport and the entire flight, it's all emos.
It's just
Everybody is an emo. I'm like, I am with my people. I love this.
This is like when you and I went to Blink-182.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to a restaurant to get food prior because we knew that prices were going to be so expensive inside the venue. We go to this thing and we're sitting there eating, and like a group of people would come in that are like mid 40s or like just really
Are we
old.
really that
and they're
old?
like wearing the Blink-182 shirts and stuff. I'm like, they're going to the concert. And,
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to the concert. Oh, they're going to the concert.
It was so funny because the entire weekend I'd see people who are like in their late 30s, early 40s. I think the oldest I saw was like probably in their 50s, wearing like My Chemical Romance shirts, Dance Gavin Dance sweatshirts, and I'm just like, my brain couldn't register it because in my head the entire weekend I was 15.
Oh yeah. That's what everyone felt. Everyone was no longer in their mid 30s until they tried to do a spin kick in the mosh pit and throw out their hip.
Which I saw a post on TikTok, and this is gonna be like a side like on the side. Have you been in a death wall?
Wall of death.
Yes.
I have, yeah. I almost broke my leg in it too.
Yay! I was gonna ask you, how scary is it?
It's terrifying. And so whenever I was in one, it was at Warped Tour and for a day to remember. And it was my brother and I, and my brother was like, oh, I hope they play Heartless. I'm like, they're not going to play Heartless. It's on their very first album that they never play any song from that album anymore. And literally, he's like, all right, so this is a very old song. And they start playing Heartless. I'm like, what the hell? How did you pull that one out of your ass? So during the huge breakdown at the end of that song, it drags on. He's like, all right, split it. I'm right in the front of this wall.
No.
I'm like, why did it split right where I am standing? So it's me, and then my brother's right behind me. You don't realize how scary it is watching it on video until you look, and 20 feet ahead of you is another wall of people that you know are running towards you.
I saw a video of that. I'm like, I can't imagine being in it.
It is terrifying. So, like, obviously the front thing gets the brunt of the force, the front walls. So, like, I hit someone, and then someone fell on me, and then I went sideways, and my leg was bent in a weird spot. And, like, people piling on top of me. I'm like, I'm going to break my leg right now. I'm
going to die.
Luckily, it was fine. But yeah, that was my only experience.
Aw. Your first and only experience, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so. Did you go on one?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought that was the point of you asking me.
No, the only reason I asked was because, and I'll get more into that later, but I was like almost caught in mosh pits. And you told me about like, oh, if this happens, just stay back because
I warned you.
You did. But I was not expecting the line for merch to be 3 hours long.
Oh, man.
I was like, okay, there's not going to be that many people. I feel like it's a Friday. People are probably at work or they're flying in and just going to the hotel and just sleeping it off because the next Saturday is the first day of the festival.
Oh, yeah, this is before you even got in. I thought you meant like inside of the venue was 3 hours.
No. So they had a satellite merch booth right in front of the entrances.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody was lined up for merch. I got what I wanted 3 hours later because check-in wasn't until 4 p.m. And so I was like, I have time to kill.
Right.
I might as well just go get my merch. I did not eat anything that entire day. I think I only had those biscuits that they give you on the plane. And I only had one. And I'm just like, I am so stupid.
I just imagine you in line nibbling on this biscuit like a chipmunk.
No, I had it on the plane.
Oh.
So this was around like 10:30. And I didn't get to eat anything until 3:30 when I went to like the Starbucks, which I'm sorry, I should not have done that. But that was the only thing to eat.
I remember you sent me a picture of you in line.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is how far away I am. And then 2 hours later, you sent me a picture. I'm like, it looks like you didn't move. Like,
no, I snaked around. I was snaking around all the way to the outside.
Yeah. It just, from those two pictures, I'm like, are you sure you are moving? Because it looks like the same spot.
I felt like I was about to pass out. And there was food there. The entire posts on Instagram was like, oh yeah, we're cashless. Just bring your card. those fucking vendors were like, oh yeah, our card machine's broken. This is cash only. I'm like,
of course it is.
motherfuckers.
Of course, whenever you desperately need food, everything is broken.
Motherfuckers. And I couldn't get out of the line because I didn't have anyone with me. I left my mom at the hotel so she could just rest and like just pass out on the couches that were there.
Just waiting in the lobby, just sleeping on the couch. You know the best thing to do? Like, if you're a vendor, set up your vendor thing right where the line is passing in front of you.
What do you mean?
So you're in line, have your thing set up so people are passing in front of you the line.
They did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, so you could just stop as you're online to get food.
You could, but they set it up in a way that there were 2 different lines. One for people who were Verizon customers, because apparently if you're a Verizon customer, you get to bypass the entire line, which was so stupid.
Ooh, I wish I was there then.
Bitch.
All right, see ya.
Rude, you wouldn't take me? So mean.
If I was allowed.
You probably would have been.
Why is that a thing now? Because when we went to Blink-182, it's like, wasn't there a T-Mobile
one? Yeah.
Like now it's like, oh, now I need to have a T-Mobile phone, an AT&T phone, and a Verizon phone because who knows which one they're going to go for.
Or have a Verizon friend, have an AT&T friend, and a T-Mobile friend.
Just have like 3 burner phones with different carriers. Throw in Mint Mobile too, just in case Ryan Reynolds wants to get into it.
But then I was like, okay, I'm hungry. I need to like get food and I don't know where to go. So I ended up just getting Domino's delivery. But then she called me and she's like, yeah, we're not allowed to come inside the hotel. You need to come outside. I'm like,
wait, that's a rule?
Apparently for Vegas hotels, they're not allowed to come in.
That's the weirdest rule I've ever heard.
Yeah. But I got my pizza. I went down. We were on the 27th floor.
Oh, wow.
So that was a nice view.
You were high up.
It was so nice waking up too, like for the sunrise.
Oh, I bet. So you had to like wake up early enough to see that happen?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Passed out pretty much right after that because the next day I had the plan to go to the Grand Canyon.
You did, yes.
And saw your text the morning of like, hey,
I forgot about this.
Before you go, watch out for boards on like nails on boards because that means people might carjack you. And I'm like, this is not what I wanted to wake up to. Why did you send me this?
All right, backstory to this. I was on Reddit a couple of days prior.
Okay.
And there was a post about boards with nails sticking out of it. And someone posted, oh, you see this on the road. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew like, it's a trap. Like they're just people are trying to get you out of your car to move the boards. But then it made me realize like, I don't think a lot of people know this about driving. And I've seen YouTube videos of people driving up in like these massive like accidents on the road and like cars broken up and stuff. The whole point being to get you to stop and then they come up and rob you or kill you and take your car.
Now, is this only in the Southwest?
No, that's the thing is I don't remember. I know specifically like Brazil, I think.
Well, that makes sense.
And other countries like that. But I'm like, I could have swore I remember reading stories of this happening in the US too, but I can't remember where.
Because you've done road trips.
I have.
Have you seen these?
No.
So then why the fuck did you scare me?
It's one of those things because I think it was like 1 a.m. when I sent you that text or something.
And why were you awake at 1 a.m?
I was probably editing. I don't know.
True.
So I'm already tired. I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. And then like, just in case she does happen to see something, I don't want it to be there. So I sent you that text just in case. But now you know for the future, if you're ever anywhere and you see something like that, turn around immediately and drive away.
If I can, yes.
Life lesson.
Thank you. But I was like, okay, I need to like stay awake because I don't know when this is going to happen. Because in my head, it was like, you never gave me that backstory if you were on Reddit and you saw it on Reddit. I thought it was, oh, I'm reminiscing about the time that it's happened to me. And so I need to give you a heads up.
In hindsight, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
But 1 a.m. tired brain, that didn't cross my mind at all.
So got up around 7 a.m, saw the sunrise, which was really nice. And then I was like, well, we have nothing better to do. There's no food here. They don't do free breakfast on the strip, naturally, because it's a tourist trap.
That's insane, though. Like, what hotel? A Motel 6 you go to has free breakfast. How does these fancy
other
Vegas hotels not
hotels
have it?
like chain hotels do, but not hotels that are strictly in Vegas.
That's so weird.
That's so dumb.
You think they would have the biggest selection for breakfast?
Right? Because when I went to Saudi Arabia, they had a huge ass buffet for breakfast from different cuisines like around the world.
And that's what I would expect for Vegas. Like,
Right?
here's your giant assortment of food.
Take your
Take
pick.
Yes.
They had a Starbucks and another cafe right across from it that was open. And so I was like, okay, that's all there is here. I might as well just get food before we go so that on the drive I can either have it or have it before the drive, whatever. So I got a coffee cake, and then I think I got like a pistachio thing from my mom. Those things were stale as fuck. I couldn't finish mine. My mom was like, my appetite is gone.
Where was this from? The cafe?
The cafe across from Starbucks in the hotel. Because I was like, I don't want to spend my money on Starbucks. It's overpriced. It tastes like shit. Maybe I'll just go to this artisanal pastry looking place across from it and spend my money where it belongs.
Does artisanal mean shit? I don't know what this is supposed to be.
So I did that, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to finish this. Luckily, I brought snacks from home because I knew we're going to do a road trip. So I was like, you know what? Might as well just buy some snacks and whatnot for the drive so that I can like at least munch on something as I'm driving so I can stay awake.
Which, I mean, everything you're describing so far is like, Vegas is a shitty place to go.
It's one of those places where if you haven't been, it seems like very fun and like exotic and one of a kind experience. The second you get out of the plane and like into it, it's like, all this is shit.
This is nothing like the movies.
Exactly. I mean, especially if you don't like drink or gamble or like do anything of that.
Right.
It's like, because that's all there is to do there.
That is true. That's 99.9% of the activities to do in Vegas.
Yeah. And so, anyways, pretty much for the drive there, I was awake the entire time, surprisingly. And it was a really beautiful drive.
You're waiting to get carjacked.
Yes. I was like, okay, I need to get aware. It seems like no one's here. I need to be on high alert.
I'm glad it was a good drive.
Yeah. Did not realize that for the Grand Canyon general admission, I had to buy tickets. I thought you could just go in.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I'm now questioning. I don't think I ever paid.
Have you? I think you went on the eastern side.
I went from the Arizona side, yeah.
Okay, we went from the Nevada side, and from the Nevada side, you have to pay for it.
Yeah. And someone correct me in the comments if you know about this, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure from the Arizona side, you just drive up to the Grand Canyon.
Because I saw billboards of like, West Skywalk tickets, last stop to buy tickets. And I'm like, wait, what? And so I stopped there. I'm like, okay, what's this whole ticketing thing? He's like, yeah, it's general admission. And then you have to buy tickets for the Skywalk as well. And I'm like, okay. So I had to like pay up because that was the whole point.
Right.
And I fully thought that like you could just go in and just park and roam around, which is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Apparently, it is $20 to $30
Yeah.
for Arizona.
Oh, on the Arizona side?
So maybe I did pay and I just don't remember. But yeah, I knew you had to pay more for the glass skywalk thing.
For the attractions, you have to pay.
Yeah. But I didn't know you thought that you could just drive up to the Grand Canyon. All right, we're here. Giant hole in the ground.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't even go into the ground. It was on the top.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh,
but
okay,
you're
okay.
looking into the giant hole in the ground.
So we did that. And then I saw tickets for like ziplining as well. And I'm like, ooh. We'll see what we
Ziplining
get
over the
out.
Grand Canyon?
I don't know because I didn't do it.
That would be terrifying.
That's why I didn't do it. I'm like, I'd rather come back alive. It wasn't what I thought it'd be. I mean, there were nice views, but like you said, it was just a giant hole in the ground. And I'm fairly sure there are parks with entrances into the Grand Canyon from below.
Yeah, you can.
But that's
do
on the
like
Arizona side, I feel like.
donkey rides or something down.
Not from where we were though. I think you had to go
okay.
around like into like the middle part of Arizona to do that.
Yeah, I've talked to people who are like, oh yeah, we went into this one area and then we drove around. I'm like, but it's all the same hole. Like you're looking at the same rocks and
Into
the
the
same
hole.
formations. Nothing changes.
Not really, no.
If I look at the mountain from this side or this side, it's still the same mountain.
I mean, it was nice seeing, but they did blockade off like I think it was like a 6-foot setback from the edge.
Which I was terrified with you going, just because we've talked about several times before of how accident prone you are.
Yes.
And I'm like, I hope she just pays attention to where she's walking and doesn't trip and like fall over the edge.
They had a lot of park rangers and security guards. Like every 5 feet, there was somebody there.
Weird. See, that wasn't the case whenever I went either.
I think it's because people have fallen over recently.
People fall over every day.
Well, it was like
much.
a kid who like fell off the skywalk.
Wait, you can fall off the skywalk?
I think it was like either the skywalk or like some other part of the Arizona side
I didn't even know that was a thing.
observatory. But like I fairly remember that some kid fell over or like some kid died.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
Yeah. So I feel like that's why there's a lot more people there now to like.
Which also, why are parents bringing tiny children to a giant?
That's the thing, though. I mean, there were kids, but that kid who died was 16.
Oh, when you say kid, I'm thinking like
Child.
toddler child. Yeah.
Child. I don't think I actually saw children.
Like that's where you need like the leash on them to make sure that they don't go anywhere.
And like tighten it around your wrist.
Yep, like a dog.
This is my human dog.
So, I mean, you went and saw the Grand Canyon. Was it extravagant like you were expecting?
Kind of was. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was fully expecting it to like, hey, okay, here's a skywalk, and then you can go down and like explore. Because even the guy said, yeah, you could explore around. I was more expecting like there's like tour guides who could like take you down there and whatnot.
Yeah,
Like-
there are in places, but you got to pay for that too.
Well, it wasn't there. Like it wasn't even offered there. So we just stayed on the top. It was nice. Probably will go again on the Arizona side next time.
And maybe you'll see a moose.
Yeah. I mean, we did see ravens. So that was cool to see.
Oh yeah, what was your thoughts seeing those for the first time?
It is a giant crow.
It is. The first time I
Cool
ever
beak.
saw a raven, we were at a rest stop in Arizona, and my brother went into the bathroom, and I was just like waiting around, looking around. Then I see this giant ass black bird walking through the parking lot. And I'm like, what? Our crows aren't that big. What the fuck is this thing?
What are you feeding your crows?
That is a terrifyingly large crow. You come to find out later that ravens are just giant ass crows.
Yes. But he was like, yeah, you could see coyotes and roadrunners and like different like animals. And I'm like, ooh, I want to see a roadrunner.
I would love to see a roadrunner.
Mm-hmm. I never saw one.
Oh.
They were hiding.
Yeah, even when you're in Arizona driving up, there's signs for like elk crossing, and I never got to see an elk. So
Yeah,
I think there's just plenty of animals hiding within the forests, rather.
probably. I mean, they've gotten used to like the people that come and go. So I guess they have had more time to like find hiding spots and whatnot.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, we also kind of skipped over this with the concert.
Mhm.
You bought merch on the first day,
Yes,
and something happened with that merch.
it did. So, once I came back from the Grand Canyon, I was on my phone because I was just trying to like prepare for the next day, setting up my backpack and everything, just making sure I have everything so I don't have to think about it in the morning. And so I was like, okay, I want to figure out what kind of merch I want to get. And usually people are really good on Reddit about shows like this, and they put up merch to help people out. Because obviously you can't see from like 600 feet back what merch there is.
Right.
And so I did that, and I was like, okay, I want to see what the artists have put out. But upon doing that, in the When We Were Young subreddit, people were like, does anyone else have an issue with their merch? And I'm like, I bought merch. Let me see what this is all about. Apparently, a lot of the band's names were not apparently, they were, and they were misspelled.
Yep.
So
some not even misspelled, some just completely wrong.
Some wrong. And to preface all of this, when they announced the lineup, the All-American Rejects and the Distillers dropped out.
Yep.
I think it's because of the contract disputes that they didn't want to play an album playthrough like it was advertised. They want to do like their own thing, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And we've talked about like how there are certain songs on there that like we don't like, but the album as a whole is okay. Or like there are songs on there that's like, oh, this is good, but then there's songs on there that's like, eh.
Yeah, that's the weirdest decision to ever make for a festival of, hey, do you want to play the show? You have to play this entire CD. Because like there's some songs where it's just like, it's kind of just thrown in as a filler song, and it's just not it's not the best thing in the world.
Yeah. I mean, there are very few albums that are good throughout the whole thing.
Very few. And it's weird. It's like, you're putting on a show for people. Let the bands put on a good show for people, not force them to do something mediocre.
Yeah. And I'll get more into that as I talk about the show. But for the bands, at least, so the All-American Rejects became the All-Immersian Rejects. Newfound Glory became New and Glory.
New and Glory.
Okay, the in crowd is we are in the crowd, which yes, I was.
I love that one.
Yeah.
With the Newfound Glory one, I was like, is this supposed to be Newfound Glory? Because it's so far off.
You texted me that. I was like, yes. But for the We Are the In crowd, a lot of people put in the comments, or like even on a TikTok, because it reached TikTok and Instagram as well, of like, my dyslexia has always thought this was always We Are in the Crowd.
What a band name.
What a band name. Not sure what the festival's going to do about it, but I'm loving how the bands have embraced it, especially Newfound Glory. They've released merch that says New and Glory.
Oh, yeah.
They misspelled When We Were Young, so it's like, instead of WWWY, it's WWYW.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
It's the funniest thing. I ordered it just because I was like, this is the band that got me into these songs in the first place, like this scene, that I want to support them.
When we young were.
When we young were.
That's hilarious.
I love it.
One thing though, what is stopping a band? Just throwing this out.
Mm-hmm.
Say like A Day to Remember.
Right.
And they're like, you have to play this album with these songs on it. They're like, cool. What is stopping them from going up on stage and just playing whatever the fuck they want?
And I was going to save it for later, but that's exactly what a lot of bands did.
Oh, really?
They realized day one that this wasn't worth shit. And a lot of them did what they wanted to do. And I'm like, I love this.
So what did they do?
A lot of bands just played whatever they wanted. Like, they didn't do a front to back album playthrough.
Oh, that's great.
They mixed it up. They brought on songs from different albums, and I'm like, I love this.
So I wonder how mad the venue got. Like
that, I'm pretty sure at that point it was whatever.
Well, hey, good thing you went for the second day then, not the first day.
So the day of the show, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up. I'm going to try to be like one of the first people there. And I asked you even like, what time? Doors open at 10:30. Like, what would be a good time to go? And you're like, yeah, just head in or head down there at 8. I'm like, okay. I'm already awake because it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm already awake. I'm just gonna like slowly get ready and just go down there. Get there at like 7:45. I want to say. I think I was in the first 200 people in line.
Which is good. Because once the gates open, you're going in immediately.
Well, they had security like guiding people like, hey, don't rush the lines yet because you still have to wait at the gate.
Mm.
And so a lot of people went to go get merch instead. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And I was like, there was like 15 or 16 gates. Because they had separated it by like what kind of ticket you got.
Oh, okay.
And so I just picked a gate. I was like, okay, whatever. There was like a few 21 up gates, and I'm like, I'm not gonna drink. Like, I don't care which one I go in. I think I was 5 or 6 or fifth or sixth person in line.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, this is awesome. I brought my food with me just because I knew I wasn't gonna eat. From home, I brought like this muffin croissant thing that was like prepackaged because I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna wait in line, so here I'll just bring breakfast with me and I'll have it before I get in. So at least I'll like have something. Also had leftover pizza from like 2 nights ago.
Wait, you brought your pizza into?
Not into, but like as I was waiting for the gate to open.
I would love to be the person behind you in line and just see you pull a slice of pizza out of your bag to eat it.
I didn't end up eating it. I had to throw it out.
Oh.
Because I wasn't that hungry that early in the morning.
True.
Like, I just don't get hungry until around like 10:30ish anyway.
Yeah. But with how long of a day you're going to have it, it would be worth it just to eat it, just to...
Well, I kind of felt like
for the
sick
day.
anyway, just because I didn't really have much to eat, and my whole body was just like, we don't feel good.
We don't feel good.
Like, my whole like digestive system was just all turned to shit after only having a biscuit in line for 3 hours, and then
That is true.
pizza that night. But get in, and it's a mad dash to main stage for the
Yep.
barricade, and I'm like, are you guys just gonna camp out there the entire time?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times at Warped Tour.
Really?
I wear like, get there early, get in early, run to the main stage, because the band I need to see is like in 5 hours. So I'll camp out at main stage I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch these bands I don't care about because I need to be up front for this band.
Aw. I had a list of like the bands that I wanted to see, because for me at least, this was like one of the first festivals I've been to. I've always wanted to go to Warped Tour. As a kid,
Yes.
I was never allowed. And so me being an adult and having my adult money, I was like, I could do whatever I want with my adult
My
money.
adult money.
And so I am reliving my childhood here.
Yeah.
Saw all these bands I wanted to see. Story of the year, I think. They were the first ones that I saw that went off their set or off their album.
Oh, okay.
Because they played so many different songs, but then they also played All American Rejects songs. And they're like,
Story of the year did?
yeah, they're like, since they couldn't be here, we wanted to pay them tribute. I'm like,
That's
dang.
hilarious.
I'm so glad I caught them. But he brought out a raft and he was just crowd surfing on that raft.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I love this.
Do you remember the band Hello Goodbye?
Yes.
They played Warped Tour one year,
Mm-hmm.
and it was literally that exact thing that you're talking about. Like, I wasn't in the crowd, and I was walking by to go to another stage,
Mm-hmm.
and all you see is like 6 rafts above the crowd, and like the band members on top of the rafts, and like people on top of the rafts, and like beach balls. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we missing right now? Because
This sounds-
these
this
guys are
was
going
fun.
crazy.
Which the beach ball thing did, that happened with A Day to Remember. This was a show right after we saw Blink. I was supposed to go to A Day to Remember, and I was
yeah,
just
you
so
were.
exhausted that day that I didn't go. But apparently that's what they did as well with the beach balls. And I'm like, oh, that would have been so cool to get one. Made my way over to main stage because that's where the rest of my shows were playing, and finally got to see The Used again, and it was as good as I remembered it the first time.
Yeah.
Apparently, he got his mic cut off
Oh.
because what they were doing is if you go over your set time, they just cut it off.
Right.
But it was like a lot of people got so pissed off because they were like, you don't ever cut off the used mics. Don't ever do that. How dare you? And I'm like, I have no clue what was going on at that point because I was like in the middle somewhere. I could still see like the set and everything. But with me being short, I was like, what's going on?
Where's my stepladder?
But it was so nice to see that it was the last 5 seconds too of where they cut it off. But it was nice to see that the crowd finished the song for him.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, yay. And then I remember texting you because I was like, okay, I have the perfect spot to watch A Day to Remember, which is playing after Pure Seville. And I was like, do I go? Do I stay? I don't know what to do. I might have to miss Chiodos for this. I'm like, you know what? fuck it, I'm gonna go. So I booked it over to like the very far end of the venue to catch them, and I'm like, I'm so glad I did.
Oh yeah,
because that crowd is just different from all the other crowds I witnessed that day. But people were saying that he is lip syncing.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't tell. I took a video. Well, I'll show you. You could tell me.
that's like the one time I went to see From First to Last, and like Sunny was too good at singing that show.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, were they lip syncing on that? Because it was too spot on. And I'm to this day, I still question whether or not he was actually lip syncing.
I mean, that's kind of like with Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
They're so bad live.
He just cannot hit a note to save his life.
I was watching videos that were taken for day one, and I don't know what he was doing, but he was just upside down, like hands on stage, feet in the air, singing. And I'm like, what? Cool, I guess.
Yeah, every time I've seen them, I thought they sounded good until I watched videos live. I'm like, is he always this
so
bad?
But anyways, there was more like controversy behind that too, of like shutting stages or shutting sets off, because Sleeping with Sirens also went over, but they didn't get their set cut off. And I'm just like, wait, so what is even going on here?
Yeah, just playing politics at that point.
Yeah. And then like, I'm glad like these bands were decided to be like, fuck it, and just started playing their own thing. Just because it was like, they've realized like no one's going to be there to listen to the entire set.
Right.
So that like they played like 5 or 6 songs at least from the album that they were contracted to play. And then I was like, okay, we're going to do our own thing. Fuck it. Which I did like. I
mean, I could see like me in a band doing that. Like, oh yeah, we'll do this. And then no, you just play whatever you want.
Because at that point, you're already on stage.
Yeah.
What are they going to do about it? Aside from cut off your mic.
Unless it says specifically in the contract, you have to play the CD front to back, then...
I haven't seen the contract, but from judging off what All American Rejects said, that's what they were required to do.
Oh.
I don't know, but it was fun.
Yeah.
A Day to Remember was amazing. Saw them finally.
Yeah, now that you had to skip them the first time.
I'm like, I can't believe I skipped them the first time. This is really good. I want to see them again.
Yeah, but to be fair, the first time you were like struggling to stay awake that day.
That is true. I took 5 naps that day.
You were like,
I think,
should I still go? I'm like, you are still stuck in bed. Why are you even contemplating going? You're just going to be asleep in 5 minutes.
Cut to sometime in August or whatever, I fell asleep in that one show.
Exactly. That would have been you at The Day to Remember.
Well, no, because like A Day to Remember was all standing.
You would have like leaned against someone.
I would have slept standing up.
Yeah.
By the time A Day to Remember ended, my feet were hurting so much.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, okay, I still like Fall Out Boy. I'll like listen to some of their songs and see what they do. And they had like these really nice fireworks and like these pyrotechnics that are just like amazing to be there for, because like you could feel the heat coming off of it. And I'm like, I like this.
Can you give me the warmth, please?
Which, I mean, I wasn't entirely all cold. I took my sweater off like once I got into line that morning.
That's the thing, is once you have that many humans together, it doesn't really get that cold. Yeah.
No. But I was like, okay, at least when My Chemical Romance is done, there's going to be like this huge like thing, because they're going to close out the festival and whatnot. It's the last day. Maybe I'll see something really cool. And their songs were really cool to see live. I was never really into My Chemical Romance as a kid. So like seeing all these people like fangirling over it, it was like, okay, this is like my middle and high school experience all over again. I'll stay, see what this is all about. I paid for it. I might as well just be here.
Exactly.
Nothing happened.
They're like, here's your song.
They played the last song, and then it just went black. Whenever
they probably played the Black Parade, right?
Yes.
Did they? I could imagine if they were to do that, you just hit that one note and you just don't do anything after that one note. That's what I would do, like ding, and then just let it sit for a second.
Oh, that'd be cool to see.
But I mean, it's cool that like the bands just fuck it and did their own thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, especially with how a lot of bands were like, how are we supposed to fit our entire album in a 40-minute set?
I think some could, yeah.
Some could, but it's like with Coheed, you can't.
No, not with Coheed.
And so I think that's why a lot of bands are like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
And I was so confused in the beginning because it was like, wait, where are these songs? Because they didn't play it. And I'm like, oh, I think that's what they're doing. They're just saying, fuck it. Nice.
I'm on board for this.
But every single person at the very end was just hobbling back to the hotel.
Oh, yeah. How quickly when you hit the bed did you pass out?
Immediately.
Yeah.
I had to take a shower before passing out because I was like, I can't sleep in this sweat and like people vaping and smoking and like I feel like it's all on me and I need to just get it off. I just felt icky.
Oh yeah, I always remember Warped Tours, like that sleep at the end of the day was like the best sleep ever because you just pass out so fast.
The thing that sucked though is that I had to be up early to catch my flight home.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I couldn't sleep in as much as I wanted to. My body still aches, and this was last weekend.
It still hurts.
My legs are like aching still. I feel like I need like one of those deep tissue massages to like just dig into there and just loosen everything up.
Especially being your first festival, like you look at the thing, you're like, oh, this is a nice day, but then you don't realize the time that elapses over that day.
Yeah.
Because you were in line from the time you were in line to the time you went to bed. It was what, like 18 hours, 17 hours,
yeah,
of you just standing and running around.
Pretty much. What's surprising, I didn't run around all that much because a lot of the bands I wanted to see is like in block chunks.
Oh yeah. Plus it wasn't that big of it was a big area to cover, but like if compared to the Warped Tours in Pittsburgh, anyone from Pittsburgh can back me on this, of like to get from a main stage to a small stage at like the pavilion, you're like, you have to run a good distance to get over to where you need to go. Like you're walking everywhere.
Oh, okay. Which is funny now seeing like different point of views on TikTok, because you have like, while My Chemical Romance was playing, you had Not a Surf and Escape the Fate and Pretty Girls Make Graves. And I'm like,
who's Not a Surf?
I'll send you that.
I've never heard of that band in my life.
Okay.
No.
I think I only know a couple songs from them. But there were only like 10 people at each stage.
Yeah.
Because everybody was on main stage, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel bad for them.
Yep. And that's the biggest problem with festivals too. I was at Warped Tour once and AFI was playing. The AFI crowd took up pretty much the entire thing, and they weren't even headlining. They were just in the middle of the show.
Oh.
So bands were just so pissed that they're like, oh, we're playing at the same time as AFI. We're going to have no one in our crowds to watch us.
Yeah. I mean, I remember last year it was Green Day and Blink-182 headlining.
Okay, yeah.
And those were the only two bands that were playing, and they had, I think it was Green Day first, and then Blink-182 closed out.
And that's typically how it should be, of like,
yeah,
if you have a headliner, they are the only ones playing. No one else plays except for them.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it sucks whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of the Warped Tours, All Time Low came out.
Oh, wow.
And they had a huge crowd. So they came out and you visibly saw the shock on the guitarist's face whenever he saw how big their crowd was. And he's like, what is it? What's going on, guys? You know other bands are playing, right? Like, why is everyone here to see us?
Aww. Which is cool to see, like, bands bringing out different people from different bands to, like, help along with vocals and whatnot.
Especially for festivals like that, where that's more of a possibility.
Yeah. Like, it was just cool to see. I think the first, I told you about that one. Like, the first one I very vividly remember is what the Data Remember and Devil Wears Prada.
Which makes sense because they have a song together.
I have post-concert blues too. I'm just like, I don't want to be at work. I don't want to be here. Can I go back and just like relive this every single day?
I had so much fun over the weekend, and now I got to be an adult again.
Right? I have responsibilities again.
Which I wanted to ask, dude, like, what was the temperature for like in the daytime?
Oh man, when I got there, it was 56.
That actually sounds amazing for a show.
It was, yeah. That entire weekend was around like high 50s, low 60s.
Oh, that'd be
which
so
is
nice.
funny because my Uber driver who was like taking us from the airport to the hotel, he was like, this is the perfect weekend for a show because just yesterday was like 98.
Oof. Dude, every single year when Warped Tour came to Pittsburgh, it was high hundreds.
Oh, geez.
And there was one year where they had to bring in a fire truck to spray people with a hose to keep them cooled off. When we were we're watching a band, you could feel yourself melting into the asphalt.
Oh,
That's how hot it was. Like you would pick up your feet and
Jeez.
see your footprint, like the shoe print, embossed into the asphalt.
ugh.
Yeah.
Which I forgot to mention, I think it was day one, because day two also had this of, it was right in front of me and I don't even know what happened, but some girl passed out.
And that happens every time.
But I heard, or not even I heard, there was reports of some girl day one who went into labor, and I'm like,
What?
what are you doing at this show, this festival, so late in your pregnancy?
We got this. We bought tickets. We're good. We need to make this work.
I guess that baby could say that it was almost born at the festival.
Yeah. Is that going to grow up to be a like scene kid?
It better grow up to be a scene kid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What are you doing to be like,
Honestly.
it could be any second now, but let's just push through. Yeah, the people passing out thing, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there was like security yelling at everybody, and I immediately figured what was going on because I was like looking back and everything, but like the amount of people who were just clueless, and I'm like, he's right there telling you to move, bitch.
Oh yeah, some festival goers are just the dumbest people in the world.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, when we were at Blink 182, I almost passed out
You didn't
waiting
tell me
in the
that.
merch line. Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, you did tell me that. I thought you meant like at the show. I'm like,
No. It was so hot. We're outside of the venue at the merch line,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it because I can't open my water because then I can't bring my water into the venue.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I might be passing out here soon.
No.
That's why once we got into the venue, I chugged that bottle of water and had to go refill it again.
I figured that was gonna happen immediately, just because I've seen you drink water.
Yeah. That was the most miserable I've ever been.
Oh,
So now that you got your first festival down, is there a second?
I will do it
festival?
again. Give it a couple of years, but I'll do it again.
It's kind of like with the first hike we did. Like you go in not knowing what's happening, and then the second hike, you're like, okay, now we're going to get a little bit better with this.
I really kind of want to go to Warped Tour because that's coming back.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that. There's
Mhm.
now updates with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Tickets
technically not a
are-
tour, which is
No.
misleading.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense as to like for what it is, but if you're going to label it as a tour, make it a tour
Yeah, it's just when we were young in 3 different states. That's
Pretty
all they're
much.
doing.
for 2 days.
2 days, $150.
Which I mean, technically isn't bad if it was in your state.
Yeah, if it's in your state, you're fine.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, oh, here's pre-sale, but we didn't give you any bands that are playing.
Nope.
So it's like,
They have slowly started leaking out bands that are playing, but at this point, nothing's confirmed. And I'm just like, I don't know if I even want to go.
I can't even remember. Again, people who have done this and who can remember, let me know, because I'm pretty sure with Warped Tour, by the time tickets went on sale, the entire lineup was done. Like they slowly leaked out, oh, this band, and then at the end, it's like, okay, now tickets are on sale, go.
That's what I always remembered it as. Like, even if I wasn't like gone or like going there, a lot of people I knew or like even some of my friends were just like, this is who's playing. And it was like on Facebook and MySpace at the time of like, this is what's happening.
But also, I hope that they don't do the when we were young thing where it's like, oh, here's the old emo bands that you remember. I hope that it's like, here's the new bands that like.
And that's what like I was gonna get into as well, of like what bands should start do, or like what festivals like they should start doing. Is like, don't even announce all the bigger bands playing. Like, announce it in a way where you have 2 or 3 like big bands, so you at least have like a huge audience,
Right.
but then have a smaller band headline.
True.
That'd be cool to see.
I just think we're at that point now where we're going all in on nostalgia, which is great. But at the same time, It's like there are good bands out there that are new. Let's highlight them.
These guys are getting old too, so it's
exactly.
like there's gonna be a day where they're not gonna tour anymore.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture of Emery, and I'm like,
I did. I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I want to see if he knows who this is.
And so I'm like zooming in on like the drummer. I'm like, okay, don't recognize him. Don't recognize it. I'm like, who's this old guy? Who's this old guy? And it wasn't until you said Emery that I saw the keyboardist like ducked down behind the keyboard.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, if I would have seen him, I would have recognized him at least. But everyone else, I'm like, who the fuck are these old guys?
I think you remember sending me that. Who the fuck are they?
No, I sent you a picture of Abe Simpson moving his arms back and forth dancing with a group around him. Which sums up the entire festival in a nutshell.
Pretty much. I mean, I was surprised at still seeing how young some of the bands were. Because, like, in my head, it was like, oh, they're probably all in their 50s or, like, whatever now.
True.
But seeing, like, Neck Deep and Mayday Parade still looking as young as they do.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Which... we didn't cover this at all. I know we're pretty much towards the end, but what did your mom think about the whole thing being there? Because she does not listen to that at all.
She doesn't listen to that music. She was like, I don't understand any of this, but have fun.
You do you.
Like, what is this you're into? I don't understand.
Why are they all so angry?
Which, final thoughts here, because me thinking about it, and I could still kind of feel it, I didn't realize how hungry I was that entire weekend. When I got home, my teeth felt they were like gummy bears.
Yeah, it is a strange...
And that they were about to fall off and I could just chew on them.
I wonder if that's the thing, because I do get that feeling sometimes where it's like, my teeth feel weird. And I wonder if it is the hunger thing.
It probably is. Because I was like hydrated the entire time. So I know it's not thirst.
Yeah.
So maybe mouth bored is a thing.
Mouth bored?
When your mouth gets bored.
Oh.
That you need to like chew on something.
That's the thing with you all the time.
My mouth is always bored.
Yeah, it is. You'll be sitting there like, my mouth is bored. I'm like, what does that mean? Just go get a piece of gum. I don't know. I remember when we worked together, you always had a fucking stack load of gum.
I still do at home.
Then start chewing on that.
You don't have to be mean about it.
That's the one thing with festivals is like, you don't eat at all.
No.
During the whole festival. So it's like afterwards, that's whenever you just load up on all the food you should have eaten throughout the day.
See, I didn't because I didn't know where to go.
True.
Which, walking back to the hotel, like they closed off all the streets. So I was just standing in the middle of the street. I'm like, I'm going to stand here for a little bit and take it all in. This is cool. Hobbled back into the hotel and there were attendants at the elevators because there's a long line for the hotel. I'm just
bet.
Or the elevators. I'm like, I'm not waiting for this. I'm going to cut. Fuck it. Because I'm on the 27th floor. There is no way I'm going to be waiting for people.
I thought you were about to say you went up the steps. And I'm like, you are
And
insane.
there was a worker there who was like, I can open the stairs for you guys. And a lot of people like took it. And there were like people behind us who were like, you guys going to take the stairs? And me and this other girl were like, we're on like 20 plus something floors. We're not doing that.
After standing for 18 hours.
We're good waiting here.
I didn't even think about that of like how packed those hotels had to be going back.
Yeah, because the hotel I stayed at also serviced a monorail to go to like go through the strip.
Oh, okay.
Which was, I was assuming that's why people were waiting to get up there too, which is why there were like a lot of lines everywhere. But I was like, I'm not waiting. I am nice when I'm not tired and I will wait my turn. Today is not that day.
So what did you do? Like you just walked up and got in front of someone?
Yeah, I just snuck in. I'm tiny enough I can sneak in.
That is true. find the drunkest person and just waddle your way into the line and be like, all right, I'm here now.
I am here.
I've always been here. What are you talking about?
It's because I'm short. You can't see me, huh?
Well, I'm glad your festival went well.
Yeah. I'm sure you had a fun time up here.
Yeah, just receiving pictures from you. Playing Guess the Band every time you send me a picture.
I was having fun.
You were. Well, now second festival right around the corner, so that's good.
Second festival?
I mean, when one comes up, you'll
Yeah.
be prepared and know what you're getting into this time.
Yes.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. If you liked this episode, be sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Go follow all of our socials over at Intersint Pod, and we will see you next week.
Bye.